McMullen, the teacher of the 6th grade class, and we have some questions for you on teaching us how, on the process of us writing the novels, you correcting the novels and giving us advice.
Sure, go ahead.
So our
Fire
first
away.
question, Francisco's asking it.
Well, Mr. McMullen, we know you went to a lot of trouble into doing this, but how hard, if you wanted to put it in a scale from 1 to 10, how hard would you say it was in putting together this project?
Ooh, from a scale from 1 to 10, it's not yet done, so there's still a lot of work to do. But I would say between everything we've had to do with keeping everyone on track and the work that we'll have to do to get it published, it might be close to a 10. Maybe not, well, maybe it's not the hardest project that we've undertaken. I know that at the school here we've done some plays, but it's pretty close to that with the time that's involved just in school and out of school trying to put this all together. So probably pretty close to a 10, if not at least a 9.
Okay.
Okay, well, thank you.
Our
We'll have another
second question comes from Kateri.
Did you enjoy helping us come up with ideas and help us with our novel?
I did. I think in some areas, as far as the creativity, I would like to see you guys try to come up with your own names a little bit more, but I still enjoyed when seeing you guys start being able to try to give you ideas and as far as the direction of the story, helping with the creativity on that side. So, I guess the only thing is I really like to see your creativity flourish, but I really did enjoy the creative process and being allowed to take part in that, and at least give you guys ideas and being led. But I guess on your guys' end, if a little bit more research in the names or creativity would have been good to see. But I also enjoyed getting to be part of that with you guys.
Well, okay, now Francisco has another question.
Well, Mr. McMullen, we've heard that you talked about a lot of work that you put into this, and you had fun. But did you find any downsides, any disappointments in this project? Any?
No, I wouldn't say disappointments. I'm really not disappointed that we did this project. I'm glad. It seemed like you guys were excited. I think probably the hardest thing was particularly during the middle, because I know you guys were really excited about starting it initially, and the first couple of weeks, even the first month, everybody just seemed to fly through the gate, being able to write 20 to 30 pages in just a week, and then it kind of slowed down. So trying to keep everyone motivated, I think, was the toughest part, and just keep us on task. But I don't have any regrets or disappointments with this project at all.
Okay, I have one more question. Now, for you being a teacher who's teaching us to write these novels, have you ever thought about writing a novel yourself?
I have, and I think one area where they do that is being involved with the drama. I've had the chance to write plays, which isn't necessarily the same, but you still have the same creativity. They're a little bit shorter, so I've always loved doing that as far as script writing, particularly when it's dramas involved. But like you guys, you've mentioned that it's hard to do a lot of this writing in one time, and I think one of the biggest challenges, being in my position, is just finding the time to do it. And that's why I thought it was particularly neat to do this while you guys were in school and doing a chunk of the work in school. Is I figured this was the perfect time to do it. It's part of your education, but it also gives you the time to sit down and write a book, and to see that if you sit down and take the time to do it, it's possible. I think maybe one of the misconceptions that we have, especially as adults, is where do I start? It's going to be really hard to sit down every night and write. And I think that you guys being able to see that if you just take the time and you set a goal every day, whether it's 3, 4, 5 pages a day, and you give yourself a time frame to work within, and certain goals, that it's something that can be managed. So if the time is set aside to do it. So I've got to experience that a lot in plays, but I think that at some point I would like to take the plunge and perhaps write a book.
Okay, Mr. McMullen, now we have 2 more questions. Bridget will go next.
What do you feel about your life of supervising 7 12-year-old hooligans?
Well, it's a lot of fun, actually. It beats, sitting behind a desk all day and doing other work is, it's challenging sometimes. I think you guys really play up the hooligan part sometimes. But as challenging as that is, I know that there's not another profession that I can think of. And to be honest with you, there's sometimes I thought, well, what career, could I possibly ended up in that'd be different, that maybe I'd like better than teaching. And at the end of the day, I think teaching is the career that I really enjoy the most. And even this year, and I've had, actually this group I've also had for 5th grade, or at least 2 subjects last year, so this is my 2nd year with them. So I really have enjoyed this group. That doesn't mean that sometimes we don't give each other headaches, but I still have enjoyed this group overall. So.
Okay, Mr. McMillan. Now, I think there was one more thing. Now, we don't want to put any pressure on you to ask this, but the class was wondering whose novel you thought overall was the best.
Oh, you guys know I won't answer that question, so I don't want to play any favorites. But you all did a good job. Everybody's got their own talents, is what you have to realize. Is I know you could say, well, objectively, I think this one or that one was better, and we do that with authors all the time. But I think at this point, it's not so much who wrote better. It's just that you guys took the time to sit down and take on this project, and regardless of what your natural ability was coming in. And so few people can say that they've actually taken the time to write a published novella, even if it's not considered a novel. And I think that's really what you have to focus on, is just that accomplishment of being able to say, look, I've made it, I've actually published a book. And through this Kickstarter campaign, since we've had some pledges, you can almost say that you're professional authors, because in some sense people have paid to be able to read your books. And so how many people at 12 years old can say that, look, I'm a professional author, I'm published, and people have actually paid to read my book. So I think that's just, it's a good accomplishment. I know that you guys are pressing me to say who's the best, but I just wouldn't feel right about saying that. I think you all did a good job. So.
Okay, now, Mr. McMillan, we have sort of a combined question here.
Okay.
2 people were wondering, if you could teach us again and sort of, help us with another novel project, of course, we'd be more experienced, would you look to one particular author, like say your favorite author, to base our books on, so that it could be all this sort of the same topic?
No, I don't think I'd ever want to actually do that to you guys, because I think that's the beautiful part about writing, is that it's an expression of yourself. It's an expression of what you love, what your interests are, and your influences. For example, that's one of the reasons why I asked in the interview with you guys is, what are your influences? Because we all have different influences, and we're all very different. So I think that to try to say you need to imitate this author, or this needs to be the theme of your book, that's specifically what I didn't want to do. That's why I gave you guys a lot of creative leeway to go and write about what you wanted to write about, what would interest you, what you thought would make a great story. And I didn't want to put a lot of restrictions on that, because I really wanted you to enjoy it. I think if I were to do that, go back and say, look, you have to write in this style, according to this author, I don't think you would have enjoyed it as much. And part of this project was really developing a love for reading, but a love for writing too, and just a love for literature in general. And I don't think I can do that if I limit it to just one author, or one particular book or one particular genre. So I think that would be a mistake.
All right, so Mr. McMillan, we have sort of one more question. Bridget's favorite author is Veronica Roth, and she was wondering who your favorite author was.
My favorite author. I have so many different influences.
Now, do you have a favorite student?
Well, let me answer the first question again. I'm not gonna answer the second one, but I would say one of my favorite authors growing up, as far as fiction was concerned, was Stephen King. I really enjoyed his writing style. He's always entertaining. I've read a lot of his different series. But there's a lot of different authors that I've read. Sometimes it's just maybe one book that they've wrote, but probably if you're talking about authors that I've read the most, or enjoyed multiple books, it'd probably be him.
All right, Mr. McMillan, now that's it. We have to thank you very much for doing this project, and
Well, thank you
You
guys.
helped us a lot, and you've been one of our favorite teachers, so thank you very much.
Thank
All right.
you.
You've been one of my favorite classes. So.